Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about small talk. Do you know what small talk is? It's a kind of conversation, but it's not too serious. Small talk is for exchanging simple ideas. We use it to break the silence, connect with people, or make new friends. It's like saying, "Hey, I see you. Let's talk about something light." Imagine this. You're meeting someone for the first time. Maybe it's at a party, in the office, or even waiting for a train. What do you say? You don't know them well yet, so you probably won't start with your life story. Instead, you begin with something simple. For example, "Hi, how's it going?" Or, "Beautiful weather today, isn't it?" These short, friendly lines are part of small talk. Small talk happens everywhere, in shops, cafes, elevators, buses, parks, or even in line at the grocery store. Think about when you go to a coffee shop to order coffee. You might say to the barista, "Busy day for you guys?" Or, "Wow, it smells good in here." These little comments are small talk. They make the world a friendlier place. So why does small talk matter? Well, it's important because it helps us build connections. Human connections matter a lot, don't you think? Even a short chat can make you feel happier or more comfortable. And for English learners like you, small talk is a perfect chance to practice. It gives you quick, simple sentences to say aloud. It doesn't require long thinking or complicated grammar. If you're new to small talk, it may feel hard at first. Maybe you think, "What should I say? Will the other person understand me? What if I make a mistake?" These thoughts are totally normal. Don't worry, many people feel shy, including native English speakers. You're not alone. Small talk feels awkward at first, but practice makes it easier. Here's something important. Small talk doesn't have to be perfect. Even native speakers make mistakes. For example, someone might accidentally say, "How's weather today?" instead of "How's the weather today?" It's okay. The goal of small talk isn't to show perfect grammar. The goal is to communicate and connect. So don't be too hard on yourself. Let's take a real-life example. Imagine your neighbor is outside watering the plants. You walk by, and you could say, "Hi, the garden looks great." This small compliment might lead to more conversation. Maybe the neighbor will smile and say, "Thank you, I've been working on it a lot." Then you can ask, "Oh, what kind of flowers are these?" Now you've started a conversation. Great job. Sometimes, when you're learning English, you might worry about what other people think. It's natural to feel this way. You might think, "What if they laugh at my accent? What if they think my English is bad?" But here's a secret. Most people appreciate the effort. They will respect you for trying to speak and connect. In fact, many people will want to help you if you are learning. Everyone starts somewhere. Even native speakers weren't born talking perfectly. They learn too. Sentence you practice brings you closer to fluency. Think of small talk as a workout for your English skills. Short, light conversations help build a stronger speaking muscle. Another great thing about small talk is that it's often repetitive. People use the same sentences again and again. For example, "Hi there, how are you?" I'm good, thanks. How about you? Or, lovely day, isn't it? Yeah, it's beautiful. These are phrases you'll hear often. If you can learn a few key lines, like greetings or weather comments, you'll be ready for many situations. And the best part, you don't need to remember long speeches. Just a few words are enough to get started. For example, let's practice now. Imagine you're at a bus stop and someone stands beside you. You want to talk. What could you say? You could try. The buses are really slow today, aren't they? This shows you're open to chatting. The other person might reply, yeah, they really are. I hope it comes soon. Just like that, you're having a conversation. Or imagine you're in an elevator. It's quiet, and someone is standing next to you. This can feel awkward. Sometimes to break the silence, you could smile and say, "This elevator is fast, huh?" It's a simple comment, but who knows where the conversation might lead. Maybe you'll find out you work in the same building, or you like the same coffee shop. Remember, small talk is not about being perfect. It's about being friendly. Being friendly matters more than grammar or vocabulary. For example, if you say, "Nice day, isn't?" instead of "Nice day, isn't it?" it's still okay. The person will understand your meaning. Conversations are not grammar tests. They're about connection. Sometimes people might just smile and not reply much. That's okay too. Maybe they're shy or they don't feel like talking. It's not about you. Don't take it personally. The important thing is that you tried. Not everyone will want to chat, and that's normal. Here's a tip. Watch how native speakers use small talk. Pay attention in movies, TV shows, or real life. What do they say when they meet someone new? Listen for patterns, common phrases, and topics. Then try to copy these phrases in your own conversations. Think of it as learning through observation. Let's practice some simple phrases now, just to get you started. Hi, how are you? Wow, it's so cold today. Lovely weather we're having, isn't it? Do you come here often? What a long line. Do you think it'll move fast? Small talk topics are usually simple. Avoid heavy topics like politics or personal problems. Instead, stay light. Talk about the weather, the scene around you, or even give a compliment. I love your bag. Where did you get it? People love compliments, and they can lead to fun conversations. Now here's your challenge for today. Try small talk with one new person. It could be someone at work, school, or even a friendly shopkeeper. Just say something simple like, "Hello, how's your day going?" Don't overthink it. You're practicing, and that's what matters most. Finally, don't forget to relax. Small talk is meant to be fun and casual. Enjoy it. You're not just improving your English. You're building relationships, learning about culture, and becoming more confident. Every word you say helps you grow a little more. Part 2. Welcome back. Let's keep exploring how to use small talk in your daily life. By now you know that small talk is simple, light, and a great way to practice your English. But where do you start? What should you say first? Don't worry, We'll figure it out together. Every conversation begins with a greeting. This is like opening the door to talk in English. There are many ways to greet someone. You can say hi or hello. These are very common and simple. If you want to add more, you can say, "Hi, how are you?" or "Hello, how's it going?" When someone greets you, don't panic. You can answer in a few words. "I'm good, thanks. How about you?" Or, "I'm doing well, thanks for asking." These are polite ways to reply. Even if you're not feeling great, it's okay to say, "I'm okay, thanks." Small talk is about being polite and positive, so keep it light. Let's think about where you might use a greeting. Maybe you're in an office walking past a coworker. You could say, "Morning, how's everything?" That's a casual way to start small talk. Or imagine you're at a cafe. The barista smiles at you. You could say, "Hi, busy morning." See how easy that is? It's just one sentence and you've started a friendly chat. After a greeting, what's next? A good topic. Small talk doesn't have to be about anything big. Start with what's around you. Look around. Is the sun shining? Is it raining? Talk about the weather. Weather is one of the most common small talk topics, especially in English-speaking countries. For example, you can say, "It's so hot today, isn't it?" Or, "Wow, it's been raining all day." These are safe, easy comments. The person might reply, "Yeah, it's very hot today," or, "I know, I wish it would stop raining." Then you've already started a conversation. Good job. If you're inside and the weather isn't a good topic, try something else. Talk about what's happening. For example, if you're in a long line at the grocery store, you can say, "Wow, this line is so long today," or, "They're so busy, aren't they?" The other person will probably agree, and then you can keep talking. Now I know what you're thinking. What if I run out of things to say? This can happen, but that's okay. A great way to keep the conversation going is to ask simple questions. For example, do you live around here? Do you come here often? What do you like to do on weekends? Asking questions shows that you're interested in the other person. It also makes the conversation flow naturally. People usually enjoy talking about themselves, so when you ask questions, it makes them feel good. Let's practice together. Imagine you're at a gym. Someone is using the treadmill next to you. After your greeting, you could ask, "Do you work out here often?" Or, "How long have you been coming to this gym?" These questions are easy introductions, and they fit the situation. Another tip is to listen carefully. Small talk is not just about speaking. It's also about listening. When the other person talks, focus on their words. Nod your head or say "mm-hmm" to show you're listening. If they mention something interesting, ask more about it. For example, if they say, "I love traveling," you can ask, "Oh, really? Where have you traveled to?" Listening makes people feel valued, and it helps you think of new things to say. Plus, the more you listen, the more English you learn. You'll hear how native speakers phrase things, which words they use, and how they change their tone. This will help you improve your speaking skills in the long run. Sometimes, though, Small talk doesn't go as planned. Maybe the other person doesn't respond much. Maybe they give one-word answers like, yeah or no. If this happens, don't feel bad. It's not your fault. Some people are shy, busy, or simply not in the mood to talk. It doesn't mean you did anything wrong. Just smile and move on. Now let's talk about another important part of small talk: your tone of voice and body language. These matter just as much as your words. Even if your English isn't perfect, a warm tone and friendly smile can make all the difference. When you speak, try to sound relaxed and happy. Don't rush your words. Speak slowly and clearly. This makes it easier for others to understand you. And remember to smile. A smile shows you're friendly and open. People are more likely to talk to someone who looks approachable. Your body language also tells a story. Stand up straight, but don't look stiff. Face the person you're talking to and make eye contact. These small actions show confidence. If you're nervous, that's okay. Just do your best. Confidence comes with practice. Now let's talk about mistakes. Mistakes are part of learning, so don't let them stop you. For example, you might accidentally say the wrong word. Maybe you say, "It's a snowy day," when it's actually sunny. What can you do? Smile, smile, and laugh it off. You can say, "Oh, silly me, I meant sunny." Most people will laugh with you, not at you. Mistakes often make conversations memorable. They show you're human, and nobody expects you to be perfect. In fact, if you laugh at your own mistakes, it shows confidence. So, when you mess up, remember it's no big deal. Every mistake teaches you something new. As we wrap up this part, here's a quick challenge for you. Think about someone you see often. Maybe it's a neighbor, a coworker, or the cashier at your favorite shop. The next time you see them, start with a greeting. Say, "Hi, how are you?" Or, if it's easier, comment on something simple. "Wow, it's so cold today, isn't it?" Just one sentence. You can do it. Remember, every small conversation helps you grow. Small talk isn't about being perfect. It's about being friendly. Every hello, every question, every little chat brings you closer to fluency. So smile, say hi, and keep practicing. You're doing an amazing job, and I'm so proud of you. Part 3. We've talked about greetings, topics, and how to use body language. Now let's dive into some specific situations where small talk happens. Knowing how to handle these situations will make you feel more confident in your conversations. Imagine you're at a party. Parties can be a little scary because there are so many people. You might feel nervous or unsure about who to talk to. But guess what? Most people feel the same way. Starting a conversation might be easier than you think. At a party, you can begin with something simple. For example, if you're meeting someone for the first time, you could say, "Hi, I'm your name. What's your name?" If you've already met them, you could say, "Hi, nice to see you again. How have you been?" These are polite and friendly openers. After the introduction, what's next? Look around the room. Is there music playing? Is there food on the table? You can comment on these things. For example, the music is great, isn't it? Or, this cake looks amazing. Have you tried it yet? These light comments can spark a conversation. What if the party is for a special event, like a birthday or wedding? You can use the event as your topic. For example, at a birthday party, you can say, "Wow, the decorations are so nice. Did you help set them up?" Or at a wedding, you might say, "The bride looks so beautiful, doesn't she?" These comments are positive and help you connect with others. Now let's switch to another place where small talk happens often. Workplaces. If you're working in an office or with a team, small talk is very common. It helps build relationships with your coworkers and makes the workplace more enjoyable. When you see a coworker in the morning, greet them with a smile. You could say, "Good morning. Did you have a good weekend?" Or, "Hello, how's your day going so far?" These are casual, friendly ways to start small talk at work. Lunchtime is another great opportunity for small talk. Imagine you're sitting with a colleague in the break room. You could ask, "What did you bring for lunch today?" Or, "Do you have a favorite cafe around here?" These questions are light and easy to answer. They also show that you're interested in the other person. Workplaces are also full of shared experiences, like meetings or projects. You can use these as small talk topics, too. After a meeting, you could say, "That discussion was interesting, wasn't it?" Or if you're working on a project, you can ask, "How's your part of the project coming along?" These questions are simple, and they also keep things professional. Now let's move to another situation. Public transportation. Buses, subways, and trains are common places where small talk happens. But remember, not everyone wants to talk, especially during busy mornings. So always start by saying something light and friendly. For example, if the bus is late, you could say, "The bus is taking a long time today, isn't it?" Or if it's very crowded, you might joke, "Looks like everyone decided to take the bus today." These kinds of comments are easy for people to reply to, and they fit the situation. If the other person seems interested, you can continue the conversation. You could ask, "Do you take this route often?" Or, "Do you live nearby?" These questions are polite and show that you're interested in talking. Remember, if the person doesn't respond much, don't push. Just smile and let it go. Now let's talk about another everyday place. Shops and cafes. When you're shopping, there are many chances to use small talk. For example, when you're paying at the counter, you might say to the cashier, "You guys are busy today, huh?" Or, if you're in a cafe, you could say to the barista, "Your coffee always smells so good." These small comments brighten someone's day and give you a chance to practice. If you see someone browsing the same aisle as you in a store, you could say, "That's a great brand. I've tried it before. Have you?" Or, "Wow, the prices are really good today." These comments are light and friendly. They don't feel like pressure, just casual conversation. Let's not forget about parks or outdoor spaces. These are lovely places for small talk, especially when the weather is nice. Imagine you're sitting on a park bench and someone is sitting nearby. You could say, "It's such a beautiful day, isn't it?" Or if they have a dog, you might say, "Your dog is so cute. What's its name?" People love talking about their pets, so this is always a great way to start a conversation. Here's another outdoor example. Imagine you're taking a walk and you see someone running or exercising. You could say, "You're fast. How long have you been running?" Or, "I wish I had the energy to run like that." These kinds of comments are fun, and they show you're paying attention in a friendly way. Now let's talk about ending a small talk conversation. This part is also important. You don't want to leave the conversation too suddenly, or it might feel awkward. Instead, try ending with a polite phrase. For example, "It was nice talking to you. Have a great day." Or, "Well, I should get going. Take care." Or, "I'll see you around. Goodbye." These phrases close the conversation politely. They let the other person know that you're leaving, but you enjoyed the chat. A friendly smile or wave can also help end the talk on a positive note. As we finish this part, here's another practice challenge for you. Think about different places where you go during the day. Maybe it's your office, the bus stop, or your favorite cafe. For each place, think of one small talk topic you could use. For example, at the cafe, you might say, "This place is always busy, isn't it?" Or at the bus stop, you could comment on the weather. "Looks like it's going to rain later." Practice these phrases in your mind, then use one of them when you're out and about. Small talk gets easier every time you try it. Don't be afraid to take the first step. Part 4. By now you know so many ways to start small talk, from greetings and weather to simple questions. You're becoming more confident with each step. In this part, we'll focus on topics you can talk about in different countries and cultures. Small talk can be a little different depending on where you are. Let's explore this together. When you travel to a new place, small talk changes a little bit. This is because every culture has its own ideas about what is polite or friendly. For example, in some countries, people love to talk about the weather. In the UK, this is a very common small talk topic. You can say, "It's such a lovely day, isn't it?" Or, "So much rain lately." People will often smile and reply, but in other countries, weather might not be the easiest topic. For example, in places where it's always warm, people don't talk about the weather as much. Instead, they might talk about food, family, or local events. If you're not sure what to say, watch how local people interact. What do they talk about when they meet? This can help you choose the right topics. Another thing to consider is personal space and touch. In some cultures, people might stand very close to each other when they talk. In others, they prefer to stand further apart. This is not about being rude, it's just different preferences. If you're talking to someone and they stand very close, try to stay relaxed. At the same time, if someone steps back while you're talking, don't worry. They're just finding a comfortable distance. Sometimes gestures can also be part of small talk. In certain countries, people use their hands a lot when they speak. They point, wave, or make big gestures. In others, people might keep their hands still. Both are okay. Just be yourself and stay open to learning about different styles. Here's something else that's good to know. In some cultures, asking personal questions is very normal during small talk. For example, in many parts of Asia or the Middle East, people might ask, "Are you married?" or "Do you have children?" These are polite and friendly questions in their culture. But in some Western countries, these questions might feel too personal, especially if you're meeting for the first time. If someone asks you a question that feels too personal, it's okay to answer lightly. For example, if they ask, "Are you married?" you can smile and say, "Not yet," or "Yes, I am." Small talk doesn't need long or detailed answers. A short response is perfectly fine. Now let's focus on universal topics, things you can talk about with almost anyone, anywhere. These are simple, light subjects that work in most cultures. For example, talk about daily activities. Ask things like, "How's your day going so far?" Or, "Have you been busy today?" These are very common and polite small talk starters. Compliment something. You can say, "I love your shirt." "Where did you get it?" People enjoy compliments, and they're a great way to start a chat. Mention a current event. Ask, "Have you heard about a positive local event?" For example, if there's a festival in town, you can ask, "Are you planning to go to the festival this weekend?" Ask about hobbies. Try, "What do you enjoy doing on weekends?" Or, "Do you like reading or watching movies?" These are fun topics that show you're interested in the person. These universal topics are like a toolbox. Keep them in your mind and use them whenever you need something to say. They work in many situations and help you feel more prepared. But wait, what happens if the conversation takes a turn and you don't understand? Let's say the us or the other person says something and you're not sure what they mean. This can feel a little scary, but don't worry. It's okay to ask for clarification. For example, you can say, "Sorry, could you repeat that? I didn't catch that. What did you say?" Or, "Can you explain that? I'm still learning English." People will usually be happy to repeat or explain. They'll see that you're trying, and they'll respect your effort. Never feel embarrassed about asking for help. Every time you practice, you improve. Another thing you might hear is a slang word or idiom. These are casual expressions that don't always make sense, literally. For example, someone might say, "It's raining cats and dogs," which means it's raining heavily. Or they might say, "I'm feeling blue," which means they're sad. If you hear slang or idioms and you're unsure, feel free to say, "Oh, sorry, what does that mean?" Most people will happily explain. Slang and idioms are fun parts of the language, and learning them will make you sound more natural in your conversations. Let's try out a quick role, play together. Imagine you're at an outdoor market, and someone is looking at the same thing as you. You notice they're holding a beautiful piece of jewelry. You can say, "That's so pretty. Are you buying it for yourself or as a gift?" This question is friendly, simple, and easy to answer. Now imagine they reply, "Oh, it's for my sister. Her birthday is coming up." You can keep the conversation going by saying something like, "That's so sweet. I'm sure she'll love it. Is she older or younger than you?" See how this flows naturally? You started with a comment, asked a question, and followed up with another question. Great job. Remember, small talk is like dancing. You take a step, and the other person takes a step. It's about balance and energy. If someone seems interested in talking, keep the conversation light and friendly. If they don't seem interested, it's okay to stop. Not every conversation will last a long time, and that's perfectly fine. To finish this part, let me give you one last piece of advice. Enjoy it. Small talk is not just about practicing English. It's also about learning new things, meeting new people, and having fun. Each conversation is a small adventure. Be curious, be kind, and stay open to the experience. Your challenge for today is to pay attention to people's small talk styles in different situations. What topics do they talk about? How do they greet each other? What kind of tone do they use? This will help you become a better observer and learner. And of course, don't forget to try out a new small talk phrase or question you've learned here. Part 5. In this part, let's talk about how to sound natural during small talk. What makes a conversation feel smooth? Why do some people seem so relaxed, like they always know the right thing to say? The good news is, it's not a secret, and you can do it too. First of all, let's talk about filler words. Native speakers use these all the time, especially during casual conversations. Filler words are small, simple words like, you know, I mean, or like. They give you a second to think while you're speaking, and they make your sentences sound more natural. Let's look at an example. Imagine someone asks you, "Do you like this city so far?" Instead of answering straight away, you could say, yeah, I mean, it's really nice. The weather's great, and the people are so friendly." See how and I mean make the response sound casual and relaxed? Of course, don't use too many filler words. Just a few here and there. They're like seasoning in cooking. A little makes things better, but too much can be overwhelming. Next, let's talk about intonation. Intonation is the rise and fall of your voice when you're speaking. In English, we often raise our voice at the end of a question. For example, "It's a nice day, isn't it?" The tone going up at the end tells the listener that you're asking a question. If you're making a statement, the intonation usually goes down at the end. For example, "The park is really crowded today." The falling tone at the end makes it clear this is a comment, not a question. Paying attention to intonation will help you sound more natural and confident. Another way to sound natural is by using short phrases instead of long sentences. In small talk, people don't usually speak in long, complicated sentences. Keep it simple. For example, instead of saying, "The weather outside is extremely hot and uncomfortable today," say, "Wow, it's so hot today." Instead of saying, "I went to a new restaurant last night and the food was delicious. I really enjoyed it," say, I tried a new restaurant yesterday. The food was great. Short sentences are easier to say, easier to understand, and they sound more relaxed. Sometimes you might feel stuck and think, what if I need time to think? Here's a trick. Repeat part of the question. This gives you time to organize your answer. Let's take an example. If someone says, "Where did you go last weekend?" and you need a moment to remember, you can start by repeating, "Where did I go last weekend?" "Oh, I went to the beach." See how repeating the question helps you sound natural even while thinking. Another way to keep the conversation flowing naturally is by showing interest in what the other person is saying. You don't always have to think of a new question or topic. Sometimes, simply reacting to what they say is enough. For example, if they say, "I just got back from a trip," you can reply, "Oh, nice." "Where did you go?" If they say, "I've been so busy with work," you could say, "Oh no, what have you been working on?" These follow-up questions show that you're listening and engaged. They also make the conversation flow without feeling forced. Let's practice this approach with a little example. Imagine you're talking to someone in a cafe and they say, "I'm waiting for a friend. She's always late." You could respond, "Haha, do you tease her about it?" Or, "Oh, where are you guys planning to go? Waiting is kind of annoying, right?" All of these responses are natural, short, and show interest in what the person is saying. Now let's talk about topics to avoid. While small talk is light and casual, there are some things that might not be a good idea to bring up. For example, don't talk about politics or religion unless the other person brings it up and seems open to it. Avoid talking about money in detail. For example, asking questions like, "How much do you make?" can feel too personal. Don't make jokes about someone's appearance, accent, or culture. These kinds of comments can make people uncomfortable. Sticking to positive, light topics will make the conversation enjoyable for both you and the other person. Here's another important skill for mastering small talk: knowing when to stop. Every conversation eventually comes to an end, and that's perfectly normal. But how can you end a chat without it feeling awkward or sudden? One great way is to summarize the conversation before saying goodbye. For example, "It was great talking to you about topic. I hope you have a great day. Well, I better get back to work. It was nice meeting you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Maybe we'll see each other again soon." By summarizing the conversation, you show that you paid attention and enjoyed the chat. It also creates a natural way to say goodbye. Let's try out another role play to practice ending a small talk conversation. Imagine you're at a library talking to someone about books. You've been chatting for a few minutes, but now it's time to leave. You could say, "This was fun. Thanks for the book recommendation. I'll check it out. See you." "Well, I should go grab my book now. It was nice talking to you." These kinds of phrases are polite and friendly, and they let the other person know you're ending the conversation. Before we finish this part, let me remind you, you're already doing great. Every conversation you have, even the short ones, is helping you grow. There's no need to rush or try to learn everything at once. Take it step by step, and little by little, you'll become a pro at small talk. For today's challenge, I want you to listen to conversations around you in English. Don't worry if you're not part of the conversation. Just listen. Notice how people start their chats, what topics they talk about, and how they use their tone and filler words. This kind of practice will help you recognize patterns and feel more prepared to join in next time. Every bit of effort you put into this will pay off. Keep going. You're building not just your English skills, but also your confidence and your ability to connect with others. The more you practice, the closer you get to speaking naturally and fluently. Part 6. In this part, we'll focus on building deeper connections through small talk. Yes, small talk can be simple, but it can also lead to meaningful relationships. Let's explore how. Have you ever had a small talk conversation that became something more? Maybe you started with a basic question like, "How's your day going?" But it turned into a real discussion. This happens when two people find common ground, something they both care about. So, how can you find common ground with someone? The answer is to look for shared interests. People love talking about what excites them. If you can discover what someone is passionate about, the conversation becomes more enjoyable for both of you. Here's how to do it. Start with a general question like, "What do you usually do on weekends?" "Do you have any hobbies you enjoy?" Or, "What kind of movies or music do you like?" When the other person answers, listen carefully. Maybe they say, "I love photography," or "I enjoy hiking." This gives you a clue about their interests. If you share the same interest, you can say, "Oh, me too." "What kind of photos do you like to take?" Or, "I love hiking as well. Where do you usually go?" But what if their interest is different from yours? That's okay too. You can still ask questions to learn more. For example, if they say, "I play the piano," you could reply, "Wow, that's amazing. How long have you been playing?" Or, "What's your favorite piece of music to play?" Showing curiosity makes the other person feel valued, even if you don't share the same hobby. Let's practice connecting through shared interests. Imagine you're talking with someone who says, "I just started learning to cook." You could respond in two ways. If you like cooking too, say, "Really? What kind of dishes do you like to make?" "I love trying new recipes." If cooking isn't your thing, say, "That's cool. Is it hard to learn? What's the best dish you've made so far?" Both responses show interest and keep the conversation growing. Next, let's talk about humor and small talk. Humor is a great tool for building connections. A shared laugh makes conversations feel comfortable and fun. But how can beginners in English use humor in a safe and simple way? One easy way is to laugh at situations, not at people. For example, if you're both standing in a long line, you could say, "At this rate, we might get to the front by next year." Or, If it starts raining while you're outside, you could say with a smile, "I guess I picked the wrong day to leave my umbrella at home." These small jokes are light and easy to understand. They don't require complicated English, and they also make the conversation friendlier, as the other person can smile or laugh with you. However, be careful with jokes about people. Avoid saying anything that might sound rude or hurtful, even if you don't mean it that way. Stick to safe, positive humor that everyone can enjoy. Another great way to build connections is to notice small details about the other person. For example, if they're wearing a unique necklace, you can compliment it. "That's a beautiful necklace. Where did you get it?" Or, if they mention something important to them, remember it for next time. Imagine you meet the same coworker every morning by the coffee machine. If they told you yesterday, "I'm taking my dog to the vet today," you can follow up the next day by saying, "Hey, how's your dog doing?" This shows that you listened and cared, which strengthens the connection between you. Now let's talk about how small talk can help you build relationships over time. Sometimes, small talk is just the beginning. A short chat in line at the grocery store might stay short, but what about people you see regularly? A little small talk every day can eventually grow into a real friendship. Think about a neighbor you see often. The first day, you might just say, "Hi, nice weather today." A week later, you add, "How's your garden coming along?" Over time, these small chats create a bond. Soon, you know more about each other, and you've built a friendly relationship without even realizing it. The same thing can happen at work, school, or anywhere else. Small, friendly conversations make people feel comfortable around you. The more you talk, the easier it becomes to share stories, laugh together, and build trust. Let's now focus on what to do when a conversation doesn't click. Sometimes you'll try small talk, and it just doesn't go anywhere. Maybe the other person gives short answers or doesn't seem interested. That's okay. It happens to everyone, even fluent speakers. If this happens, don't take it personally. Not everyone is in the mood to talk, and it doesn't mean you did anything wrong. Just smile. Say something polite like, "Well, it was nice chatting with you," and move on. The important thing is that you tried. Every attempt helps you learn and grow. Now let's talk about a final skill that's very useful in small talk: knowing how to politely disagree. Sometimes during conversations, someone might say something you don't agree with. For example, they might say, "I think traveling is boring." But if you love traveling, what do you do? It's okay to disagree politely by showing respect for their opinion. You could say, "Oh, really? That's interesting. I actually love traveling. It's so exciting to see new places." This way, you're sharing what you think without sounding rude or dismissive. Another polite way to disagree is to use phrases like, "I see what you mean, but I feel a little differently." "That's an interesting point, but for me, it's a bit different." Or, "I get your perspective, but in my experience." These sentences show that you respect their opinion even if you don't agree. It's a great way to keep the conversation friendly and balanced. Before we end this part, Here's your challenge. Create a list of your favorite things to talk about. Think about hobbies, movies, music, food, places you've been, or experiences you've had. These are your go-to topics for small talk. When someone asks you a question and you're not sure what to say, you can bring up one of these topics. For example, if someone asks, "What do you do in your free time?" you could reply, "I love watching movies, especially comedies. Do you have a favorite movie?" Or if someone asks, "What do you like to eat?" you could say, "I'm a big fan of Italian food. Have you ever tried it?" Having a few prepared topics makes small talk much easier. You'll never feel stuck for words because you already know what to say. Part 7. Every part we cover brings you closer to feeling natural and confident during small talk. In this part, we'll focus on handling different types of people, how to adapt your conversation style, and refining your skills in real-life situations. You've got this, so let's keep going. Have you noticed that people have different personalities? Some people are very friendly and talk a lot. Others are quiet and don't say much. When it comes to small talk, it's helpful to recognize these differences. The way you speak to a talkative person might be different from how you talk to someone shy or introverted. Let's start with talkative people. These are the people who are comfortable talking about anything and everything. They usually enjoy leading the conversation. With talkative people, your job is to listen and stay engaged. Nod, smile, and say things like, "Really? That's so interesting." Or, "Wow, tell me more. I didn't know that. How cool." Talkative people appreciate good listeners. You don't have to say a lot, but when you do speak, ask follow-up questions. For example, if they say, "I went to London last month," you could reply, "That's great. What did you do there?" Or, "Oh, I've always wanted to visit. What was your favorite part?" These questions keep them talking and make the conversation flow naturally. Now let's talk about quiet people. These are the people who might not say much during small talk. With quiet people, it helps to ask open-ended questions. Open-ended questions need more than a simple yes or no answer. For example, instead of asking, "Do you like sports?" an answer could just be, "Yes." You can ask, "What's your favorite sport to watch or play?" This gives the other person the chance to share more. However, if a quiet person still doesn't talk much, don't pressure them. Some people are naturally shy or prefer to listen more than speak. That's okay. It's not about forcing them to open up, but giving them the space to join the conversation if they want to. Imagine this. You're at a small gathering, and you're talking to someone who seems shy. You start with an open-ended question like, "What kind of music do you enjoy?" They quietly reply, "I like classical music." Instead of a big follow-up question, you can build on their answer gently. For example, "Oh, classical music is so relaxing. Do you play any instruments or do you just like to listen?" This keeps the conversation light and invites them to join. Now let's talk about people from different age groups. When making small talk, it's common to meet people who are much older or younger than you. Adapting your style can help you communicate better with them. If you're talking to someone older, think about topics like their experiences, family, or favorite hobbies. Asking questions like, "Did you grow up around here?" Or, "What do you enjoy doing in your free time?" shows respect and curiosity. Most older people have plenty of stories to share, and they often appreciate someone who's genuinely interested. On the other hand, if you're speaking with someone younger, you might talk about trends or popular culture. Questions like, "What's your favorite app right now?" or "Have you watched any cool shows recently?" can open up the conversation. Younger people often like to share their opinions about things they enjoy, so keep it light and fun. A great skill for small talk is mirroring. Mirroring means adjusting your style to match the person you're speaking with. If they speak slowly and thoughtfully, you can slow down your speech too. If they're full of energy and enthusiasm, you can add more energy to your tone. Mirroring creates a sense of connection because people feel comfortable when someone matches their vibe. Let's put this into practice with a short role play. Imagine you meet someone who speaks very enthusiastically. They say, "Oh my gosh, I just love traveling. Last month I went to Italy, and it was amazing." Instead of replying in a calm, quiet tone, try mirroring their excitement. You could say, "Wow, Italy, that's incredible. What was your favorite part?" Matching their tone shows that you're on the same wavelength. Now imagine the opposite. You meet someone who speaks quietly and calmly. They say, "I enjoy reading in my free time. It helps me relax after a busy day." Instead of replying loudly or energetically, match their calm tone. You could say, "That sounds really nice. What kind of books do you like to read?" This creates a smoother connection. Another important part of small talk is showing empathy. Empathy is when you try to understand and share how someone else feels. It's a big part of making the other person feel comfortable. For example, if someone says, "I'm so tired today. I didn't sleep well last night." You can show empathy by replying, "Oh no, that's the worst. I hope you can rest later." Small comments like this show that you care. They don't have to be long or detailed. Empathy is about making the other person feel seen and heard. Now what happens if small talk suddenly gets quiet? Imagine you're in the middle of a conversation and both of you stop talking. The silence can feel awkward, right? Here's a tip. Don't let the silence bother you. It's perfectly normal for conversations to pause. Instead of panicking, you can restart the chat by introducing a new topic or asking another question. For example, imagine the topic about the weather has ended, and there's a pause. You could say, "So, have you seen any good movies lately?" Or, "By the way, do you have any weekend plans? This reminds me, do you like traveling?" These comments are simple ways to move the conversation to a new topic. The pause isn't a failure. It's just a natural part of speaking.